2 Logan Paul videos dropped here. There was, I'm going to check out these 2, and we'll consider these palate cleansers so we can kind of just end on a more positive note on this.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today we're going to be talking about YouTube's hottest conspiracy theory, man. We're going to be putting on the tinfoil hat. We're going to be avoiding the reptilian lizard people. We're going to be walking the edges.
So drop a link to it in the chat.
Of our flat earth to basically figure out whether or not Logan Paul actually faked the infamous Japanese suicide forest video that in a lot of ways has really defined his entire career. I mean, it's been even what, like half a decade at this point, like 5-6 years since the whole video even released with Logan Paul and his
I did drink water and eat, yes.
crew going into this forest in Japan where notably a lot of suicides happen. However, there's been a long-running conspiracy theory on YouTube, and the reason why you may have not even heard of it before is because it appears that most of the time when people actually talk about this conspiracy, their videos have been deleted from YouTube. Now, a lot of people have even accused Logan Paul of faking this whole thing, even from the jump. There were people when all of this initially started, the backlash really started coming out, you know, mainstream media even eventually started kind of picking this whole thing up. There were people then who accused Logan Paul and his team of basically faking this whole thing to get Logan Paul's name in the media, garner a bunch of controversy towards Team 10, and kind of take what I like to call the Grand Theft Auto route, where, you know, people say things like, oh, all publicity is good publicity, right? And so for like Grand Theft Auto, it's been the subject of controversy after controversy. We've had government officials call for it to be banned and censored and taken away. And in a lot of ways, a lot of things have tried to kind of replicate that outrage, because that outrage is actually what helped popularize Grand Theft Auto and helped it sell even more copies. And a lot of people have basically alleged that Logan Paul did this with the Japanese suicide forest video to just get a bunch of controversy and get a bunch of attention. Now, I wouldn't think this video is going to get taken down. I would hope not. I don't see why. Like, I'm not going to be saying anything outrageous or ridiculous or against terms of service or anything like that. I mean, we're really just going to kind of break down what people are saying, why people kind of think this, because I think that's important. I mean, obviously, anyone can say they think Logan Paul faked the video, but we really need to see why people think that it was faked and kind of take that perspective into consideration. So it's been a very enigmatic kind of topic, if that makes sense, because like I said, people get taken down for talking about it. There was even some allegations that people talking about it on Twitter had their tweets deleted or their accounts suspended, people getting striked here on YouTube, right? So from the way it sounds, a lot of people are kind of afraid to speak up about it because the ones that do seem to get targeted a little bit. I'm willing to take that risk to discuss it with you guys today. There was a new video that came out that a few people were talking about. I'm pretty sure it was on JiDion's stream, and it hasn't really gone viral or anything. As of right now, it only has like 10,000 views, but it's a video that goes through all of it. It highlights a bunch of clips and whatnot of people talking about the situation, giving their opinions on it. And it was initially like 57 minutes long, but I checked it again this morning and it somehow was cut down to 35 minutes. I'm not sure if the uploader went back in like YouTube Studio and somehow altered the video. I really don't know, but I thought that was a pretty weird phenomena. I've never really seen a video have that happen to it. That was kind of my first run-in with that, so that kind of, you know, weirded me out. And it kind of falls in line a little bit with like what I said. Some people have basically been targeted for speaking out about this. Anyway, I will link the full video down below for you if you want to check it out. It is a pretty long watch. Honestly, it could...
What is that? What is this? I had no idea. Where's the link? I don't see the link. Oh, here it is.
I am joined by a man who had to take time out of his very, very busy...
Am I going to get banned for covering this? Damn.
Schedule as an actor, as a writer, as a podcaster, as a boxer, and this one's important, as a social media influencer. Almost 23 million subscribers. I give you Logan Paul!
Logan Paul in the forest, believe it or not, is back in the news. That's right, like there's this conspiracy going on that it was all a hoax.
That another YouTuber, Maddie Love, ended up posting this video, Logan Paul Japan vlog is fake, and that was posted over 3 years ago.
People that are making the videos are getting their videos taken down. People that are tweeting about this story are getting their Twitter suspended.
Well, look at that in a second. I'm going through this because this I got to this first, but we'll look at that before we end, yeah?
Which is causing this controversy to get even bigger and bigger and bigger. Apparently some commentators here on YouTube decided to pick up the story. They started uploading
WWE Logan
videos of the evidence that they found that this was staged, it was a hoax.
But thanks to a smaller commentator named Time Man, he made a video showing evidence that Logan Paul faked the Japanese incident all them years ago.
Because the YouTuber Pie Man made a video discussing why they believe Logan Paul faked everything.
And the video was removed by YouTube. So then there was like re-uploads, those videos were removed by YouTube. What is going on? So like now multiple YouTubers are uploading videos and their videos are being taken down too. And now some of the videos are taken down by allegedly Logan Paul's people or his MCN Studio 71. Why is all this stuff being taken?
If what he's saying is true, this is huge.
Logan Paul, oh my goodness, thank you so much. Please have a seat. Just you being here says so much about your character that you would stand against moral injustice. It will show the entire world. It'll show all of your followers.
This could be one of the biggest conspiracies of the century, man. I'm just excited to see the evidence.
He posted a clip from his visit to Japan's so-called forest. What happened next would change his life forever. The group came across an actual victim.
This morning, Logan Paul is in some hot water after he posted a video allegedly showing the body of a person who recently committed.
There are loads of people out there saying that the video that Logan Paul filmed with the dead guy hanging in the forest, everyone knows about it. It's been on national and international news. Loads of people saying that that is fake.
What's the percentage possibility that it was all fake? The body was fake, everything was fake.
Yes, he faked it. I'm sorry, he did. Unless you give me statements from other people involved. I've gone through that video now. I can't tell you how many times, and every time I go through, I find something new that further validates my point.
If he admits that it's fake, then the controversy dies. Then it's even... And actually, isn't it even worse that you're like, you're making a mockery of with a fake body?
So it says police didn't even receive a report and they didn't even know about it days after, despite Logan's video portraying a body as reported and collected. Masaki Ito, spokesman prefectural police, said people are not obligated to report a body. We want to speak to said there's no obligation. So the body wasn't reported.
That whole situation involving him and the Akigahara Forest has been, well, for lack of a better term, a mess. I've watched a lot of people's videos on it, and they all keep saying the same thing, that it was real. I'm actually in the camp where it wasn't real. I spent a lot of time going through just the video and comparing it with Google imaging of the area, as well as going through frame by frame and looking at the fact that the body moves a couple times. You could maybe chalk it up to a cadaver spasm if it's legit, but no, I don't believe it's real. I don't. I really, really don't. And I'm kind of also wondering if the cops here think it's also fake too. So it says that YouTube star Logan Paul wanted by cops over Japan's forest video where he filmed a hanging body. Officials want to question him as there may have been a involved. Now, the thing there is may have been involved, not that there was a involved. And that is a very interesting line there, because this whole video was presented as real. These guys go 300 feet into the Akigahara forest and encounter this body right off the main path. You can see it from the road. I watched the Vice documentary on it. They go way far back into the forest. Most people actually go way far back into the forest. I don't think the person who they showed just went 300 feet and was like, well, this looks good. Let me just kind of wrap this rope around and make sure my feet are planted on the ground. If you look closely, his feet are pretty much planted on the ground. It might be at a little bit of an incline, but ultimately, again, no, I don't believe it. I'm sorry. I just don't believe it. I think it was staged. And I think the cops think it was staged too, because this is actually a big deal when it comes to Japan. Now, it says here that Japanese police want to question YouTube star Logan Paul over the insensitive video of a man hanging in Japan's so-called forest. Jay Akbar of the Sun, I don't know if you could really call it the so-called forest. Up to 100 people a year do go out there to die. You can watch the Vice documentary.
What's up, Incognitas?
They show some stuff. There's tons of pictures online. There's a lot of other things. And while the idea there of the forest is legit and people do go out there to commit, I still think Logan Paul here faked it. I still think he faked it. And here's the thing, I'm just going to say this right off the bat, until I see footage from the other.
This is so crazy. So is it primarily coverage from this one guy?
people who were there, the other pendejos who were there, because all of them like keep looking in the camera, and that one dude with like the freaking turtleneck was holding what looked like a Sony RX100 or a G7X Mark II.
What's up?
On a Joby
How you
pod, at least
doing?
another tripod. You're telling me he wasn't filming? You're telling me the only person out there with the camera was Logan Paul with his whatever he was using, his DSLR? No, I guarantee you, there was somebody else out there filming. And not only that, I just want to quickly call on this particular point too. Twice in the video, and again, no one is ever talking about this. Like everyone talks about the video in terms of like, well, he didn't monetize it. Well, yeah, he says that, but he also says immediately following that there was no cell reception at the forest, and that when they went out there, when they first got out there was no cell reception. But yet, when they find the body, they tell their security guy Sushi to go out there and make the call, and he walks about 10 feet back and then pulls out a phone. Never. This is a dude who, by the way, is Japanese, lives in Japan, would know the forest. There's a bit of him in the video saying like a guy I know came out here when he was 21 and killed himself, and then coming across the body out there, and his response isn't put the camera away. This is dishonorable to my people, dishonorable to my culture. It's I'm just going to walk over here for a few minutes. I'm going to be on my phone. You guys do what you're going to do. No, I'm sorry. No, I don't believe that it's real. And like I said, I don't think the cops do, which is why they want to talk to him. Because at the other point, well, we'll go through that here. Masaki Ito, spokesman for the Yamanashi Prefectural Police, said people are not obligated to report a body, but want to speak with him as a may have been involved. Paul's team is shown in the original video calling police and emergency officials appearing at the scene, and local police overseeing the forest in Paul's video have declined comment, as Japanese authorities tend not to comment on this. But again, this is not an uncommon thing. Here's the thing too with that, and I like to kind of point this out. The parking lot they went to is not just the parking lot to the forest. It's not just the parking lot to everything. Where they went is actually an ice cave. That is the...
Yeah, Brazilian. Sou do Brasil, você.
That is like what's at that parking lot right there. It's a very active tourist location. It was in the early daytime, from what I could tell when they went out there, and they went only 300 feet back. A person who was going to commit suicide. And if you watch the Vice documentary, people go out there for days on end. People go out there they go back very far, a few miles back into the forest, a secluded spot where they oftentimes will get lost. If they're looking to come back, you'll find tape, you'll find rope, you'll find string. One of the key things with this video that struck me as odd is they never showed the sign. They never showed the sign, which their tour guide, their security buddy, Sushi, would have pointed that out had they actually gone to the part of Akigahara where people come.
And noise fee.
Which was not 300 feet away from the parking lot, as Logan mentioned. There are so many things in this video that speak to me as being a prank, and this is why the cops want to talk to him. Probably to get their hands on the footage, and probably to get their hands on everything else, like statements of how this is totally fabricated. Because even though Logan Paul here apologizes and he says, I made a mistake, he never comes out and says that it was pranked. And there's a reason for that, and I will talk about that here. Now, it says that Japan has one of the highest suicide rates in the world, with more than 21,000 people killed every year. So it's a pretty common occurrence, but cops are still going to want to know why there's a couple gringos out there with a camera faking a dead body. So yeah, in Japan, it's viewed just differently. But again, going back to that Vice documentary, where they actually went with a geologist, they went out there and they were looking around for a while, and he was telling them about what he'd seen and giving him in-depth, ideas as to what's going on, or information as to everything that's going down. None of that was reflected. None of that was reflected in what was here. And another thing I found interesting too is in Jacqueline Glenn's video, where she had commented on this thing, she mentioned she went there, but she never said how far back she went. I just find that to be a little bit odd. A couple little things here in regards to this that I feel could have been called out. Jacqueline was there. She would have known the layout. She would have known how far back things were, so on and so forth. But if she would have gone further back. And I don't think in her video she went super far into it. She was just kind of touring the outside. And I think that's what happened here too. I think these guys were touring just a few hundred feet in. They bought the extra gear just as props for the video. They went out there. They saw it, or they set it up. They shot it. And then they went back out. Because here's another thing with that too, is we never actually see the paramedics take the body. We don't actually see cops in the background of that shot. Now, maybe it's different in Japan, but here in America, you call in somebody will come, a cop, a police officer will come, they'll investigate, they'll call paramedics. The paramedics will then come, or they'll call the fire department. Like, generally speaking, there is a chain of command for how you get a body identified, so on and so forth. So there would have been an officer there. And that officer would have wanted to take a statement, which tells me that, the fact that they're sitting here now saying that we want to talk to them means that either Logan Paul, if this is real, cut and run before the cops got there. Never mind the fact that he basically was walking by by a fire department guy and says, oh, there's a body about 4 clicks that way. And then still does a sake bomb in the parking lot, right? Talks to a family that's there, obviously for the ice cave. And then does his outro video there, or does an outro of the shot, all while showing the emergency vehicles in the back, setting up the scene that this was real. See where I'm going with this? See where I'm going with this in terms of there's so much that is just not shown, especially the paramedics taking the body away. You figure that these guys, if they were as rattled up as they said they would, and they're hanging around, they're doing sake bombs, they would have at least waited and got a shot of the body being taken out, right? On a gurney.
Hey, Random Gecko, I appreciate that. Glad you're out of prison. Glad you're out of jail, man. It's good. Good to see you back.
Rolled out, covered up to solidify that this is legitimately what happened. They didn't. Or if they did, the footage isn't in the blog. Same with any of the other people who were there too. Again, that's something I want to bring up here. None of those people, from what I can tell, have released their own footage. And none of them have come out and said anything else about it either in terms of being fake. Probably because right now the backlash against them is so big. But again, I will get to that. And now he stops. Now, people out there were criticizing my last video on it, saying like, oh, you're wrong. This is going to kill his career. This is going to end Logan Paul. Is it? Let's take a look here. So Logan Paul, Social Blade. All right, your social blade is a good indicator of how some channels are doing. So you figure with a scandal as large as this, with a situation as crazy as this, where it's being covered through all mediums all throughout the world. I was listening to Sirius XM last night on like their turbo station, 90s grunge rock, right? And it's all like, or just 90s and 2000s rock, and the host was talking about the situation. People are talking about Logan Paul, and as I said, this is an excellent business move because this is only going to make him more famous. This is only going to get more people talking about him. And this video, while struck down from YouTube, and as a result of it being struck down, people who have shown just like blurred out images of it or whatever, are having their videos struck down and their channels getting striked. So YouTube is, while they're allowing this to happen, they are also very much trying to censor and silence other people. I guess you could say capitalizing on it. But looking here at Logan Paul, the douchiest douche who's ever douched on YouTube. He's A+, 50 subscriber rank. This guy's got 321 million views in the last 30 days. His average monthly earnings are anywhere from 80,000 to 1.3 million. He was good to post it on the first of the year because ads have gone to crap as it is. Anyway, let's go here and take a look. So he posted the video on the first of the year, right? But if you see here, his average subscriber growth every single day is roughly 31,000, 66,000. But you can see here that he's doing really well. Then cut down here to Monday, where he still was about 57,555 subs, or 565 earned that day. Tuesday is when the big controversy hit. Now, if you notice, there's a huge drop there from 57,000 to 16,000. That is a humongous drop. That being said, when I first checked it that night, he was at negative 5,000. So he had lost 5,000 subs. And obviously that cost him somewhere in the neighborhood of about probably 30 to 40,000 subs total. I would argue he probably lost about that many for that day. Wednesday, 81,000 almost new subscribers, completely offsetting whatever he would have lost the day before and putting him back on track to where he would normally do pretty well. And even this day, he's made 34,500 subscribers. Logan Paul is fine. And even though I firmly believe that the video was faked, until I see evidence suggesting otherwise, I'm sorry, no. He still did it. He still posted it. And YouTube seemed to be okay with it. 80,000 subs yesterday, 23 million views yesterday. He doesn't really have to care ultimately because his entire thing is rewarding to him.
Since then, videos even suggesting it was fake have been removed by YouTube despite re-uploads of the original and people saying it's real still being allowed.
Just wondering, what are you doing for money, seeing as your main cash cow now?
No, I know.
What is it? Can't say. Come on, give us the scoop, man. Let me know.
Bro, you know the scoop.
What is it? Clothing. That's good, man. I'm happy for you, bro.
Thank you.
Do you think you should be forgiven?
Logan lost YouTube ads because he tased a rat, not because of Japan.
There's no real repercussion. Yes, I got removed from Google Preferred, which is YouTube's high-end monetization program.
It's probably too late by then. Right?
I mean, it's just it wasn't how I make a majority of my money. It's like I'm gonna survive. I'm gonna be okay. I'm saying there's no real repercussion for my actions. No slap on the wrist from anyone.
Because there is no anyone. What happened in Tokyo?
As far as
and then my understanding is you went to a place where it's a conventional spot for people taking their own lives, and you pretended to find a body. Is that if I understood it?
I wouldn't use the word pretended.
Found a body. Right. Oh, that's pretty heavy. Yeah, that is heavy. Yeah. So right. Yeah.
I was like, hey, Jake, want to hear something crazy? He's like, yeah. I was like, 3 days ago, I sold $1 million in merch in one day, in that one day. He's like, no fucking way, dude. I mean, $1 million in one day.
You're how quiet it is right now?
Yeah.
Everybody's mind is blown.
I go, wait a second. I was like, yeah, bro. He's like, you really made it? I was like, no, wait. You know what's even crazier? He's like, yeah. I was like, I did the same thing the next day. And then I was like, let me stop you there. I did the same thing the day after that.
Right off at the top of the video, Logan Paul does a fantastic job of making himself the sympathetic figure, the victim, actually. A victim who feels like he deserves it. It could have been helpful if Good Morning America did research to look at his entire catalog. I mean, we're talking about Logan here. He has a video still on YouTube where he faked his own murder in front of his fans. It is such an interesting world that we live in, where thanks to this...
That is so fucking crazy.
This situation, Logan Paul is exiting this scandal far bigger than he entered.
Did YouTube know it was fake and worked with Logan throughout the scandal? I don't know. I don't think so, honestly. I don't think YouTube... As far as I know, YouTube has no... Like YouTube is just a platform. They're not involved in the production of content. Like, there are YouTubers who nowadays have, they will submit their videos to reps so that they can find out if their video is going to get demonetized, or if their video gets demonetized, why their video got demonetized, and they can correct that issue. But even back then, 2018, there were YouTube reps you could get on your channel. It was just a select few people who got them, but as far as I know, YouTube is never involved in production. Even when YouTube owned channels, and they owned certain channels, Key of Awesome. They own that channel. They weren't involved in the content production. They would just give them a monthly budget, right? Could run that deep, especially with the Paul brothers. I don't know. I know people at YouTube. That's why, like, from the conversations I've had with them, like, they have literally no interest in like being involved in, especially in controversial shit like this. Like, they're really hands off. But, you know, maybe it's just the people that I know.
We got YouTube removing ads from Logan Paul's videos temporarily. On February 9th, 2018, the YT Creators Twitter released a tweet that stated, in response to Logan Paul's recent pattern
Hey, thanks for gifting the sub, Taylor. Appreciate you. Welcome back to the family, Zero Cool.
of behavior, we have temporarily suspended ads on his channel. When he came back, everybody was expecting, oh, he's going to be a little bit more tame. Maybe he learned from his
At least Jake picked on retired MMA fighters, yeah.
mistakes. And then he comes back, he's advocating or people are saying he's advocating that his audience eat Tide Pods or do the Tide Pod challenge. He pulled a koi fish out of his koi pond and started giving it CPR and then playing with it like a boat. Just really inhumane stuff there. And then he was electrocuting or tasing a dead rat. Really, really dumb stuff. Nothing terrible. Well, I mean, I guess the Tide Pod tweet. He apparently said in a tweet, I will eat a Tide Pod or swallow a Tide Pod for every retweet that I get. I think that temporarily demonetizing his channel is a good thing. It's a smart move, but I don't fully believe the motives behind it. I don't think that YouTube really cares that much. And let me go ahead and explain why. So although they are publicly saying, hey, we're demonetizing Logan temporarily, we've canceled his YouTube Red series, we've taken him off Premiere advertising, all this stuff, all these publicly facing things. But over the last week, a couple of things have occurred. The first one being when Logan Paul released the Logan Paul is Back vlog, that got pushed to almost everybody. It was in so many people's notification centers who are not subscribed to Logan Paul, myself included. I'm not.
Are you kidding me? I'm not. So this YouTube accidentally gives mass notifications about Logan Paul video to people that aren't subscribed to him. I'm having a hard time receiving accurate notifications from my actual subscribed channels, and this crap pops up. I've never once clicked on a video of his. At least try to hide the favoritism. Our bad. We fixed it so that only Logan subscribers will get it going forward. Apologies for the spam. That was never explained. I remember that. That happened. I got that too. How old are these videos? Some of these are around the time, from around the time when the controversy happened. This post 6 years from this, I guess this video is from 2022. This clip that we're watching now.
Not subscribed to that clown.
Is this a new scandal or this is a documentary that's essentially repackaging. This documentary, I guess JiDion watched it yesterday on his stream, but it was published yesterday. It's got 10,000 views, and it's just looking at a lot of these allegations that have been going around for years, this conspiracy.
I don't like his videos. I don't want to see his silly face. I don't want to see it. Yet YouTube puts it in the notification center, which pushes his content to more and more people. Secondly, after they announced, hey, we've temporarily removed all ads from his page, in my notification center, I saw a community post from Logan Paul that read, "Yo, gang, no vlog today. I love you. Get your merch." Logan Paul probably earns $5 or $10 profit off of every merchandising item that he sells. So that's equivalent to 10,000 views, essentially, if he's earning the $10 profit margin there. So my thought...
There's no closed captions on this, but the closed captions I usually have are deactivated for some reason. Let me figure it out.
Here, I'm going to take it to a conspiratorial place like I like to do. I imagine that YouTube and Logan Paul had a meeting, and it would probably go something like this. Hey, Logan Paul, great to meet you. Really rough situation here. You really gave us a crappy sandwich to eat here. Not happy about it. But here's what we're proposing as YouTube. We're going to go ahead and publicly say we're temporarily demonetizing your channel. Maybe you'll lose out on $1 million for 1 month, but we'll go ahead and reinstate ads a little bit later. So in order to offset that and save face, YouTube will look like heroes for demonetizing you. YouTube will look like amazing people. Oh, they're standing up to Logan Paul. We'll look amazing. We'll save the platform. And in the meantime, we'll go ahead and promote a couple of your videos. We'll go ahead and promote a couple of your community posts to everybody on YouTube. And then all you have to do is sell maybe 10,000 shirts to make up that $1 million as opposed to get 100 million views. There you go. That's what we'll do for you. Or 1 billion views, whatever it would take. I don't know. That's what we'll go ahead and do for you. So in the meantime, we look great. YouTube doesn't die. Advertising rates don't get crushed down.
YouTube is trash. You systematically remove all videos that contradict government/woke narrative around major events like... They remove all comments that go against the narrative. I mean, it honestly, sometimes it feels like it's an uphill battle on YouTube to say anything that is goes against the grain or that ruffles feathers or, you know.
And then when you return, you'll go back to making even more money because we promoted you to a larger audience. That's my conspiratorial take. So I don't think that is the case, but I could see that being the case. They're just saying, oh, it's a Logan Paul bug. BS. How is that? Why is there no podcastage bug? I haven't seen podcastage videos getting posted to everybody's freaking notification center. Why is it the biggest YouTuber, the one that probably brings you the most money and the most views, is getting promoted to everybody?
I've been thinking about this subject quite a bit because every time I think about Logan Paul, this comes up in my head. That body is not real. And I have a few reasons why I don't believe the body is real. And the thing is, I'm also surprised that these points haven't been raised enough. And look, it's one of those things that when you see the thumbnail, if you guys remember the thumbnail of the Japanese forest video, how could you not know that that's not okay? That's what kind of makes me think, oh, these guys do a lot of pranks. They would be the one to drag in a dummy, and then it's totally okay to put it on the thumbnail because it's fake. So a lot of people go to that forest for that very reason. They're looking to find a body. It's notorious, you know? So you have tons of creators that go there every year, just looking, hoping that they'll find something. And they find nothing. Nothing happens. They usually just make a camping trip out of it. They vlog, and then they go home, whatever. At least we got to go to Japan and have fun. Cool. And so when I talk about the odds, what are the odds for, okay, the most popular and most influential YouTuber at the time? He would be the one that stumbled upon one. He's the guy. Not like you would expect somebody that lives there or someone that travels there, regularly. Probably some vlogger that has like 30 subscribers would be the one to stumble upon a body, and then they'd be stupid enough to post something because, oh, this is gonna blow me up, which it probably would have, but then the channel would have been wiped out, and then your 15 minutes would have been over. Just in 15 minutes, really. So it's one of those things that like I just have an extremely hard time because I'm an Occam's razor guy. I like to be as real as possible about a lot of things. And when you think about the odds of that situation, oh yeah, this guy, Logan Paul, super famous YouTuber, happens to be the one. Of course crazy stuff has happened throughout history, but this one, it's like, what's the more likely scenario if we're going to use Occam's razor? That a dummy was planted, or that he actually stumbled upon this thing? And when you think about the scenario and all the gears and all the variables involved.
So there's a conspiracy theory that the Logan Paul faked the Japanese forest incident, and that's what this documentary is currently making the rounds, and we're kind of just looking at it to see. Honestly, the most convincing stuff was this first part that we watched over here. This part, I mean, the body was blurred. I don't remember if it was blurred after the fact. When I remember watching the video and the body was blurred when I watched it, right? So I don't remember if the body was blurred before or after the fact or after it got all the negative attention, but it's going to be hard to analyze the body if it was blurred, right?
Like, come on. It doesn't seem real. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting to the more complex thoughts of the matter. The motive. Was it intentional or could he plead ignorance? And that's a huge difference. One thing I want to bring up is, imagine this is a case where you ran over somebody with your car. And so you go to court and it's like, well, what was the motive? And then you can say, there was none. It was an accident. I accidentally ran this dude over and I accidentally offed him. And then you know what happened? You most likely get manslaughter. Now, in the other scenario, what if you're like, I was so angry, I ran this dude over. Intent. Then it can be charged to murder. That can, you know what I'm trying to say? So the intent is so important in this situation because when you look at this, it made much more sense to plead ignorance than to say he intentionally put a fake body there just for clout and views. It makes it so much worse where it's like you made an absolute mockery of awareness and this and just everything that he did negatively becomes much worse because it was intentional versus we accidentally stumbled upon a body. We accidentally put it in the thumbnail. We accidentally did all of this stuff. I know I messed up. I didn't mean it. Pleading ignorance makes much more sense in this scenario because there's a lot of people that would say, well, if it was fake, why wouldn't you just come out and say it's fake? Because of that very reason. He would get much more crucified if he was like, guys, I was just kidding. It's fake. It would be way worse. So honestly, I think the people that surrounded him were smart enough to know that, oh, dang, we did screw up. But you know what? You're gonna have to take a dive. You're gonna have to take a hit for this one, and we're gonna have to go with that. It is real. We screwed up, and we will get over this hump.
Yeah, I know. This whole thing, looking at it in hindsight, there's a possibility that it could have been fake. Personally, I don't know. I don't think it was. I think that's just. Unless Logan comes out and says it, it'd be really fucking hard to fake that shit. And yeah, there's a lot of like room for skepticism, but this is like controlled chaos. usually involves lower stakes, right? Like this is a really high stakes thing. Like finding a body, right, is a really high stakes thing. To actually fake it in a way where it doesn't destroy your career. Like he didn't know what the outcome would be, right? If he was really risking his entire career for a stunt, right? Without knowing what the potential outcome could be. I mean, I like looking at the conspiracy theories because I like looking at all the other angles in situations. But I just find it hard because you don't know, like, it's one thing to be a risk taker. It's another to literally gamble everything you have for a stunt, right? Like controlled chaos usually applies to lower stakes shit. And where you're like, you're mentioning Kim's robbery, like, you know, if that were fake, I've never heard of that conspiracy theory, but if that were fake, in that situation, the controlled chaos places her squarely as a victim. In this situation, Logan, in the controlled chaos scenario, places himself clearly as the user, the abuser, right? The person who's like obviously trying to benefit from somebody's life, right? Unless YouTube had his back, which they did. I mean, that's all up for speculation. I see how, you know, some things point to that, but that's all up for speculation. You know, I don't know. The conversations I've had with people at YouTube, like they're so hands off with this kind of stuff. They like literally, the last thing YouTube wants is to be involved in any sort of controversy that affects their entire brand, their entire platform, and the ability of advertisers existing on the platform, right? And that's like a pretty, I don't know much about the Lion Maker. I've heard that name before, but honestly, I don't know too much about it.
And, ladies and gentlemen, he absolutely did. He just pleaded ignorance. Logan Paul is a complete moron to all these people. Everyone's like, he's just a complete idiot. What a piece of trash. What an idiot. Instead of just being like, oh, we did this on purpose. It wasn't real. Then it's like, wow, what a monster. What a sociopath. This guy's so crazy. I can't believe he would do something like this. See, there's no idiot marker there. When the idiocy and the ignorance really helps people skate through. It really does. Now, this right here is one of the things that has perplexed me the most. Is because I was actually, when I more so thought that, yeah, this could be real, because I didn't give this too many thoughts. I just thought maybe on the surface, oh yeah, this happened. That's really stupid. But I never really gave it too much thought. But then when I actually started thinking about it, that's when it was like, this stuff doesn't add up. And something that I never saw happen and I thought was going to happen was there was going to be press coverage of the family of the victim. I thought that, you know, maybe even if they declined, they didn't want to be interviewed or anything, there would be something that would service. And here's the thing, I looked to try to find something. I tried to find what was the victim's name, because you would think that the victim's name would be shared, and just to, you know, to show respect. You know, that's what we do. We honor the dead by, you know, vigils. We do them. We definitely put them on display. We wake them, whatever the case.
No, I mean, that's assuming that in Japan they have the same customs as America. It is a red flag that there's been no update on the victim. And I mean, I would imagine that the family would have been pissed off or put out some kind of statement. That is a red flag. But as far as like ceremonially, what would happen? I don't know. I don't know if that would happen. It's just, Japan's very, I don't have to explain this. Japan's very different culturally. So maybe that's why.
That's just what we do in all cultures. So the thing is, I thought it was so strange that
people often wear masks in their videos if they don't want to have their identity out there. You know what I mean? It's common. It happened before. I mean, big example of this is Dream.
Like, oh, what was his name? Because I wanted to know who he was. I wanted to know about his family. Just anything. I didn't see anything at all. I looked because I genuinely was interested. I would say, like, who was this? With the family, I feel like something could have been done. It could have been a very teachable moment. I think something. You know, a lot of times journalists, investigators will try to get a statement and then they'll say, oh, they declined. And that's it. Happens all the time. These journalists are usually vicious. And then I'm like, that's really interesting. I haven't really seen anything. And so that really gets me scratching my head. It makes me...
I wonder if there's a journalist who could like reach out to the Japanese authorities and see if there's any record of that body being recovered, and if there was a cause of death, if there was an autopsy, if there was, because those things are usually released, right? Especially in a case of high interest like this, where this person's body was used like that. So that is definitely a red flag, that there's no autopsy information, no information about the perhaps the motive of the person, if they left a note or anything like that. But then again, I don't know enough about Japanese law to know if this is the kind of thing they would release, right? What do you know about Lion Maker? I just know his name. I don't know anything else about him. That's it. I've seen his name in the titles of videos, but I never really watched much. Ethan was all pissed off about the streamings and was like, Dream, you can't put a fucking mask back on.
I think much more that, like, this just doesn't add up to me. Everything that you would expect to happen hasn't really happened in the likeliest of scenarios. And so it just really makes me question the way that things went down. It just, to me, makes much more sense that it was just a prop. It was just a dummy. And there's no background or anything. There was no names. There was no nothing. Because honestly, in my opinion, if I did something that stupid, for sure I would want to pay my respects to the dead. I would honor the dead. I would 100% say rest in peace to this person. I would do whatever I can to the family, and not even for PR purposes, but it's the right thing to do. So it just seemed a little weird that I saw nothing of that. I was trying to look, and like I said, if there is something, please correct me. It would actually, the thoughts would leave my head, because I'm kind of just weirded out that I'm like, is nobody else thinking these things? Given the points that I just laid out, does it not seem more likely that the body was fake, and then things just blew up in his face so much that he had to take the dive and say it was real? Because everything else just doesn't make sense. The thumbnail.
I mean,
my advice, please report it to the police. Make a note on your smartphone of the GPS position, and then report it to the police, maybe through your hotel or your hostel. But yeah, the police will want to come back with you to the place. They'll want you there for their legal requirements too, and you'll have to write your name and things like that. But yeah, I think that's what. And the police are very nice. They won't suspect you.
That's an important point. Is it quite a long process that you have to go through? Or?
Go in the police station. They might, and they have a team there, and they'll drag them out, and you'll go in the van with them and take them to the spot. And one of the requirements is they always need a picture of you pointing to the unfortunate person and saying, "I found this." They need that for their files. They're quite thorough, of course, in Japan.
Right. But I would guess the likelihood of that is, as long as you're staying to the trails.
So that picture would exist somewhere in a file of Logan pointing to the person, right? We'd have to assume if this is their actual procedure, there is somewhere out there is a photo of Logan with his body. I mean, what does a public records request look like in Japan? Do they kind of stuff? Does anybody in the chat know? Maybe let me see.
You do that was pretty small.
In 15 years, Paul, of spending most weekends in and around the forest, I found 3 people. So if you're here for the weekend, it's very unlikely.
In 15 years, he found 3 bodies. How can you do a public records request? Here, I'm Googling it. Public records request, Japan. Can we file one right now? Court records, public access to specific historical public records, legal documents, obtain public records. Proxy services for legal documents. We provide proxy services for obtaining Japanese government records. Most Japanese public offices provide services only in Japanese language, and most documents are unique to Japan and not compatible with what you will expect in most countries. We can assist you in the following documents. So family records, residential records, certificate of divorce. So there'd be a death certificate for this person, right? How to obtain a death certificate in Japan. Visit the embassy and fill out the form. I'm too lazy to even watch you try to do this. Police statement after that. This is a red flag. They wouldn't say that it was real. Visit the embassy. You have to go to the Japanese embassy to request it. I wonder if there's a service that expedites it like this one. Maybe we should try calling them. National Archives of Japan, public access to specific historical public records and archives. Maybe I'll try calling this place. Yeah, I'm just gonna say I don't want to leak their number. It's the leader now. So how will they have the date? What do you mean? It's not going to say an address. We could ask. The video was uploaded January 1st, 2018. Oh. Okay, so they have like, there's a general form here. Could call that ice cave spot. What's the ice cave spot? Okay, I'm going to shoot them an email, yeah? I'm going to shoot this company an email right here. Personal business. I'll just put legal, personal, other. Hi. Hope you're well. I'm looking for records or any information about the passing of an individual in the, what's the, okay. So we have to assume that the passing happened between the last week of December in 2019, and since he uploaded on January 1st, in the between actually December, let's say December 23rd, 2017, and January 1st, 2018. And I'm just doing that because the video was uploaded January 1st. We don't know when they filmed it. I want to have a broad. It's called the Narusawa Ice Cave. Is that the exact spot? The Akugara Forest and the Narusawa Ice Cave between December 23rd, 2017. Yeah, I mean, it's just sometimes you don't know what you may get. An individual, the individual took their life in the forest, but there was initially documented in a video, but there have been no records of the individuals passing. Please let me know if this is possible. What kind of records can be retrieved and the associated cost. Okay. All right. I'm definitely not going to share my phone number. Let me just fill this out here. Hold on 1 second. So this is a bilingual expert. That's who I'm contacting. All right, let me see. Has this been submitted? Okay. Oh, they have a phone number too. Maybe we'll try calling them too. Let's see. It says, thank you for contacting us. We'll get back as soon as we can, usually within a few hours. Email will come, check the junk folder. Okay. Update if you get a response. Imagine if you are the one who blows this massive case. It'd be fucking crazy. I honestly, I don't know if much is going to come from this, but sending out an email never hurt anybody, right? Like, this is like so easy. And honestly, I'm surprised nobody else has thought about doing this, of just trying to get a records request. Because you can do that. You can do that for most cases in America. I know you can. I mean, this was even the case with like this YouTuber got in trouble because she did a public records request of a child who was murdered and then just put it behind a paywall and try to sell the photos, right? You guys remember this? I'm not going to do the same. If I get the information, I'll check with my lawyer first what I'm able to share publicly, because I also don't want to fucking, I don't fucking know. This could be a fucking hornet's nest. You know what I mean? So, if I get a response, depending on the kind of response that I get, I'll check with my lawyer and I'll see how I can release it. Maybe I'll share with other YouTubers if I can do that. I don't know. But no, depending what it is, I would also want to keep the families, like, if they haven't released information, if the family hasn't spoken out and they just want to be private, I would also want to keep the family's information private. I would have to figure out a way to redact it so that the family isn't put on blast and being forced to relive a trauma, right? It'll basically be like, I'll figure out basically be like an A or nay of it being like real, right? But let's see. Also, if it ends up costing like thousands of dollars, I don't know if it's worth it. Just saying, I'm not gonna pay like $2,000 to have a lawyer like pull that out. Like, I don't know. You guys think it's worth it? $2,000? Like, if it comes out to being $2,000, I don't know. I'm really not up for spending that much money to figure this out. I don't know. Yes? No way. Great. All right, let's watch this. I don't know what the hell this is. I assume it's going to get copyright. Okay, it looks like it's not going to get copyright claimed. Fiverr, you'll chip in. Maybe we'll do like a big campaign. I'll get a bunch of other YouTubers. Well, if we can really get a records request on this, we'll just all do it together as a community and figure this out. Get to the bottom of this, and then figure out how to talk about it.